So, hi, hello. Here's another episode of the design series. My name is Patrick Mohende, and today we are designing a complete brand identity for a dessert restaurant that offers desserts for women only. This is a women owned business that serves a women population. That in itself is so different. And if you're versed with my philosophy in brand creation, then you have to be different. You know that you have to be different. If it's not different, it's not recognizable. And just before I get into it, I like recording outside because outside is beautiful. I live in Nairobi. Majority of the homes in Nairobi, especially if you're just starting out, are not really in serene environments. I grew up in a place in Kenya called Nakuru, and Nakuru is quite beautiful, quite serene. You can do walks, and I miss it so much. So please subscribe so that I may make enough money while helping you so that I can move back to Nakuru, the place of tranquility. So, yeah, that was the brief. So the company distributes desserts, and by distributing dessert, what it means is that let's say Java procures cakes from this company. So Art Cafe gets their cakes and their desserts from this company. And the catch is that it has the best world top chefs, the world's top chefs who bake the desserts and distribute them to leading restaurants. So it's female owned, and the target audience is purely women. So they're trying to speak something to do with delight, and they're down to earth. So they're trying to give delightfulness, and they're down to earth. And yeah, might be something that men can buy for their women, but the target audience is definitely not men. So the first thing we did is look for a name, because as I've already said, it's completely different. Women owned serves only women. Like you've seen this in retail stores that deal with clothes. Yeah, now that makes sense. The likes of Vivo and whatever. But a restaurant that only serves women, I'd like to go there. If I was a woman, I'd like, let's go see. But remember, they're only distributing desserts. But in my advice for this fictional client is that they should open up theirs. Like I can go to Java and I might have something of theirs, but I'd like the company's cake. Yeah, I like Java's cake, but I want that cake, but bring it to your milkshake. I like you can have the both or the best of two worlds in one restaurant. So my advice would be open a restaurant, open a branch where someone can come exclusively for your dessert in case other restaurants dish out your product. It's doing so well. People are not even selling our own desserts, and that's detrimental for our brand. Like, are we open just to be a retail store for your desserts? Mind you, these are desserts made by the world's best chefs. So please open your restaurant and call it drum rolls. So I start thinking, colors, name, tagline. So I'll show you what I was thinking. So chefs coming together, because it's top world chefs and they're trying to come together. So it's a blend. Can I write blend backwards? Connoisseurs. What can I derive from there? So I started looking for keywords: blend, connoisseur, mixture, brew. Brew is like a synonym for blend and mix. This work will really expose me to synonyms. Assorted. Actually, at a time, I wanted to call it assorted. But remember, the target audience is women. So the name has to reverberate with the target audience. and the vision of the business. I keep thinking ice cream, cakes, they have to be scooped, etc, etc, etc. Anyway, I think I don't remember it very well, but I was just here, this exact point. I actually thought about kekies. I just saw it written big kekies, and I'm like, wow, because a cake in Kiswahili or Swahili, the Swahili word for cake is keki. So I did call it kekies. Let me YouTube quickly, Google quickly. Is there any company called kekies, guys? Google, come through. Please tell me there's none. And there is in India several. I'm like, so they're trying to talk about something that's delightful, down to earth, but I wanted it to have the name. I wanted it to be very familiar with what the brand is trying to push. It's very awkward for a brand not to be affiliated with. It's like, what can I say? It's escaping my mind. So I started thinking, home of desserts. We're getting somewhere now. Home of desserts. HOD. Okay. The dessert place. It's coming now. And I remember just thinking, her dessert. Like it's her dessert. HERDESSERT. It's her dessert. That can be a beautiful name if I put it in one sentence. And guess what, guys? Start thinking her dessert, because there's this company called Hagen Dazs. So Hagen Dazs, I think, was made. It's an ice cream company, if I'm not wrong. And people are thinking, who's Hagen Dazs? What does Hagen Dazs mean? Hagen Dazs is completely made up. Can you imagine? Like, it's not German, it's not Swedish, it's nothing. It's completely made up. Someone just woke up and said Hagen Dazs, and it became a global brand. And that really, I've been trying, and I think that's a very good way of naming a company. Because look at it, Coca-Cola. It's novel, it's different. Vivo or Samsung. Who can ever come up with such a name? So I decided to come up with a fictitious name, like a made-up name. It's not English, and I think this just might be my style. And I'd advise you that if you're a brand designer or you're starting a business, come up with a name that doesn't exist. Like, just play around with names, but it has to be catchy. So from this one, her dessert, I gave it now one name, her dessert. So from Hagen Dazs, her dessert. And it's HADEZZAT. And I remember I was over the moon. Her dessert. We are going to her dessert. Babe, could you please pick up a dessert for me at her dessert? It was insane, an insane moment of revelation. Her dessert. And that was just beautiful. So one day I think about that name and I'm like, so how I've planned my day. So the first day is for ideation. And the tagline is made for her. It's that simple. So the name, so let's just break it down a bit. I'm trying to hurry up so the video doesn't take too long like the last one. So let's start with the name, her dessert. You can clearly say, her dessert, target audience is women. Perfect synergy. Tagline, it's made for her. Perfect. So in the name, you've already designated who it is for, and in the tagline, you've completely annihilated the fact that this is exactly for women. So her dessert is made for her. So on a random night, so let's break it down how I normally operate. So the first day, that's a Monday, I take the design brief from goodbrief.io, I read it, and I start thinking about and the names, how to make it make sense, following the brief. The second day is normally for, um, no, so the first day, how I like planning myself, and I'll show you my Google files or my Google Calendar. The first day is for ideation, so I come up with the name plus the logo. Yeah, and I remember thinking for the logo, we'll just have a plate. Yeah, like a plate and a spoon. And when I show you the logo, you realize that the spoon is kind of hanging, like it's not touching any base, and that's unrealistic. But why not? It's just a logo, man. Don't think too deep about it. Logos don't have absolute meanings. So the spoon is kind of dangling, and that's fine for me. Mm, but the logo was really good. So the first day is normally for ideation, getting the logo done, coming up with the tagline and the name of the organization. Then the next day is for coming up with the color palettes. Uh, Third day is for mock-ups. Fourth day I do brand strategies, and the fifth day I edit and finalize, ready for posting on Sunday. So I remember this random night I'm watching a women's game because the men's football is on international break. And let me tell you guys, women's football, you people might sleep on it now, but that's the next big thing. I'm telling you, women's football is gonna be so big, especially from a marketing point of view. I think sponsors will heavily put their market on all their money, their market, their advertising, their brand awareness on women's football. You had it here first. And if this thing comes to fruition, I'll post it on all my social media platforms. Women's football is gonna be big. So I'm watching a football game and I'm trying to come up with the logo. And yeah, basically that's it. Then that's done. I mean, we have a logo, we have the name, we have the color palette, and the color palette, women like pink, but thinking that it was food, I'd like for it to be classic because in the brief it was supposed to be down to earth. Yeah, so I think there's nothing more down to earth than black. So I know it's a dessert company, it should be lively, it's women, but if it's supposed to be down to earth, as the client says, then ideally black is the best color, and a few illustrations, very simply done. And for me, design is simple. Design doesn't need to be complicated. Design is simple. So black is a huge primary color, white and yellow, plus some shades of, I don't know what that color is, but that's the color palette. We might name it, and we might just be different. We might be calling colors that we find randomly, we might be calling them names. Yeah, so that's how it is. That's how it happened, and that's how the mock-ups look. And for me, you look at, there's this company called New Corp. And by the way, I do my mock-ups on Canva. Canva has, when you get the paid version, even the free version, there's some really good mock-ups that you might be able to get. So I'm still trying to grow as a designer. So I'm just trying to understand how mock-ups work. I know there are a few various sites about mock-ups and how to use Photoshop to integrate that into something that looks very well, very good. And we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there one step at a time. So one thing what I'm really good at is reading about brands, observing brands, looking at strategies, what people are doing, and offering strategies of my own. And I think the best thing a dessert can do is really market. Remember, Peter Drucker says there are only two functions that a company should involve itself with: marketing and innovation. So to the best of my ability, hard dessert should be everywhere. Hard dessert should be in malls. Hard dessert should be on billboards. Hard dessert should be on the street signs. This might not be practical in Kenya because people tear posters that are in, let's say, bus stops or things like that. So it's very important for hard dessert, how classy, how elegant it is for it to be in malls, places where women are, billboards, posters. That's the brand strategy. Be as ubiquitous as possible. And remember, just make sure the quality backs up the marketing. The quality has to be A1. This has to be the best desserts on earth. And you look at some of the posters I've done, there's a woman there. Like the post, there's a dish and the chef who made it, and that brings a lot of familiarity. I'm not sure I've seen that being done. I could be wrong, but you look at this poster that I'll show you in the next few. So it's the name of the dessert, the image of it there, and who it was made for, who it was made by, who it was made by. And I think that brings a lot of familiarity, and that in itself makes the chefs ambassadors by their own merit. They're ambassadors for the brand. So these are some of the brand strategies I think about. Be as accessible as possible. Be on cups, be on malls, or be on billboards. Post every single day on Instagram. Find customer loyalty programs. How can her dessert, and I've not thought deeply into this because it's been a very long week, but find ways of cultivating customer loyalty, and that varies. Yeah, so it should not feel like should buy from her dessert over and over again for me to be a loyal customer, because the quality on its own is bringing me back there. Not that the fact that I want to get offers or promotions, and I think that's where businesses go wrong. I'm back here, one, because you have the quality I need. Two, you have good staff. They look motivated. You're paying them well. Remember, guys, you're paying your staff well. Don't pay them the same thing that was being paid to people 10, 20, 30 years ago. Times have changed. Inflation has come up. Pay them more. So if the staff are good, the staff are courteous, the quality is good, you just need to make sure that now I feel part of this community. Yeah, so I think that's and I think we might have an update on the next video, because that's something I really didn't think through, because that's the essence of a brand. A brand or branding, the end goal is to ensure that you have awareness and that you have loyal customers. So the quality in itself should be enough, and the fact that it's for women again should be enough, but there should be things that you're doing that ensure that people really admire your brand. So we might do that on the next video, or I might think of it and now add it here. Yeah, actually I should do that because there's a lot of time. So I'll think of it and do that in another forum. But essentially, that's it. That's her dessert. The organization, you give it time, you're very intentional about it, you deliver quality consistently over a few years, 10 years, showing up every single day, training your staff, making sure they're courteous, making sure the orders don't take too long, making sure that the food is good, the food does not go bad, and you'll be in business for the next 60 to 80 years, and her dessert would outlive its owners. That's how a brand is built, day by day, every single day, brick by brick. It can be an organization, but does it have the grit to become a brand? Napoleon says, only those who persevere will win. See you on the next one.